everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. With Christmas coming faster than we know it, I have really been trying to think about what I want to do for my tags this year for all of my holiday gifts. And the new Simon Says Stamp and Gina K Designs exclusive stamp set called Last Minute Labels really inspired me to make some really festive tags with a bit of stamping, a little bit of stenciling, and I really loved how these turned out. They're going to match really nicely with the wrapping paper that I've picked out for this year. Now, if you don't have a red and craft themed wrapping paper like I do think this design is totally customizable for any color scheme that you have. So keep that in mind as we're creating. Feel free to swap colors around to create the look you're going for. So I'm going to use this stamp set today to create some really fun stamped tags. I've already die cut a whole bunch using Simon Says Stamp's nested tag die set. I've cut these from Nina Desert Storm cardstock, and I'm going to use that Last Minute Labels stamp set that I mentioned to do the stamping on my tags. I brought in my Misty stamping tool, and I'm going to stamp on these tags with some Lumberjack Plaid Distress Oxide ink. Oxide ink is partially a pigment ink, so when you stamp on something like craft cardstock, you're actually going to be able to have a solid impression with this. So I'm going to stamp all of these tags with the snowflakes, and I'm creating a background. I'm doing this in assembly line style, so that way it'll take a lot faster to put all of these together. So as you can see, I'm creating a trio of snowflakes across these tags. And I'm doing each stamping of the different positions of the snowflakes all at the same time. So that way I can get all 3 snowflakes stamped across all these tags in no time at all. After all my stamping was completed, I brought in this Falling Tiny Dots stencil from Simon Says Stamp and some pearl white stencil butter from the Crafter's Workshop. I'm going to apply this stencil butter through the stencil onto all of these tags to create a little bit of a stardust effect. I really like how this trailed down the snowflakes and created some movement with that trio that we stamped across these craft tags. I'll repeat this stenciling across all of my tags so that way everything looks exactly the same. Once I have all of the stenciling done, we're going to move on to stamping our sentiments. There are some great greetings in this stamp set, and I'm going to use this label that is just so intricate. I'm going to stamp this onto some Schoolhouse Red cardstock with embossing ink. I've already prepped the surface of my paper with a powder tool, and I'll just stamp this greeting right down onto that Schoolhouse Red cardstock. For that perfect Christmas touch, I'm going to bring in antique gold embossing powder. This always looks so good at Christmas time. It's a beautiful warm gold embossing powder. And I always like to heat the back side of my paper before bringing that heat to the front. Helps minimize the warping as I heat set this greeting. Now I'll stamp and emboss all these greetings all at once, and then one at a time adhere each one onto my tags with some foam squares. I'm using Simon Says Stamp foam squares to attach these greetings down, and then finally I finish things off with a bit of red and white twine to tie across the top. This is going to look so pretty on my gifts this year. I love how these turned out and how quickly these came together. I ended up having a whole bunch of these in my stash, ready to go and put onto my Christmas gifts. I hope that this idea has inspired you. Don't forget, you can totally swap out all the colors that I used today and go for something, maybe some blues and whites or some red and greens. Whatever is your color palette for the holiday season, feel free to swap that out and change up the design to fit your holiday gifts this year. I hope you were inspired. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to come back and share more with you. I've got some more videos coming up this week that I hope you'll tune in for, and I can't wait to share them with you all. Until then, have a fabulous day, and thanks so much for watching.